Yeah, very good afternoon. So, as continuation to the second in the last class, that management of industrial relations. So, yesterday we have discussed about that what is industrial relations and what are the um relations with customers or the sorry with employees, employers, and the government relations uh, with industrial relations among the uh, how that relations is going to be there, how that industry relationship is going to be working together in the office level. So now we can discuss about these blocks in the block one, industrial relations and the conceptual framework. So here we have three units are there. The first one, industrial relations and introduction, and second one, approaches and theories of industrial relations. Unit three, changing profile of major stakeholders in the India. So now we can discuss about one to one, into one, into two, into three in this way. The first one, what are the industrial relations? Now I given some introduction about this relation. Let's see. Industrial relations refers to the complex set of human relationships which emerge in work situations. But industrial relations, it refers to the complex. That means so many things are there in the industrial relations. So it's a set of human relations. So here the set of human relations including there is a employees, employers, organization level, society, psychological, political, um, and the governmental relationships all together is a human relationships which emerge in work situations. If there is a work, if work is going to be there, there is a political, economic, social, psychological factors also impact on the industry or the work. So here in the work, uh, employees employees is the workmen. They used to work for the organization or the industry. When that industrial persons, that means employers, the managers of the company, they are providing the employment to the these employees. So here industrial relations are a set of procedures and the systems used by employers and employees to determine determine the terms and conditions of employment and working conditions and behavior towards the employees. Any organization, any employer is always going to framing or giving some instructions or guidelines and some policies. According to that, that employees has to be work for that company or the organization. So here the company or the employers, they used to evaluate, they used to assess their behaviors, how the employees are working for the company. If the employees are working for the company, that means uh, based upon their related skills, based upon their work, the workers has the laborers has to be work the same way. They are also treating them based upon their uh, work nature of the work. Now an organization that understands the organization that understands its industrial relations environment very well, in able to strategize to minimize its risks and increase its opportunities in crisis situation. Yes, definitely every organization will look about the economic factors. That means if any organization is going to working for that, providing or any manufacturing certain things, they used to uh, focus on how to earn the profit, how to or else how to maximize the profit. So how to earn the profits in the organization means, they used to reduce the risk by utilizing the minimum resources, and maximizing their productions are the outputs from the existing things by utilizing their optimum level of resources to get an quality of output. And with changes in industrial relations environments and its associated telling effects on organizations, it is imperative that appropriate response be in place to develop merit abilities of organizations in order to protect their going concern craving. Yes, here organization has to run for the long term, not for the short term. So for that, they used to maintain the relations with the organization level, including with the top level, middle level, low level, in order to maintain certain things in a systematic way. In these procedures, they used to allot the work from one to one, from there is a hierarchy. That hierarchy people used to follow their organizations, follow the organizations instructions or the guidelines. So here, if they are going to producing certain things, definitely they will continue the relations in future also, not for the one time basis or the short term basis, but they used to maintain or they used to continue their service for the long term, the long term purpose. So that's the reason it's a going concern craving. Now, here see, corporate threats increase when management lacks the requisite knowledge and competency to effectively manage the human needs of their employees, which may lead to serious corporate challenge that can threaten the very existence of the organization. Yes, here any corporate companies or organizations in the world in the industrial relations, they used to manage. If there is no proper or the sufficient management people in the organization level, they cannot survive the organization for the long term, and they can get a complete losses, or they can shut up the business, because if they are unable to run the business, or if they're unable to providing doing their strategies, definitely they have to face the other organization problems also, because this is a competitive organization, competitive world. Every company is giving a stiff competition to one organization. If let us take this retail marketing, for example, or else plastic industry, or else manufacturing the cement industry. If you see all this company, one company is not going to stabilize, just, no, stick to the particular product. They're also diversifying the different products, and also comparing with their product quality, and they also assessing themselves to how to improve the quality, how to provide a good service to their existing customers. Because if they're not going to producing the quality of product or service, so in the next term, that the customers may not turn to purchase this particular product. So this reason, the companies used to provide, they used to focus on the latest technology and technology adoptions, and the technology evolutions is going to be implementing these their industrial level. So there is a reason, if you are not going to using that advanced technology, uh, then the company may get a problems or the threatens with other competitors, because if you are going to using oldest machinery or the technology, so that you cannot give a tight a competition or a strict competition to the other companies. So that's the reason there is a difference in this organizational level. And the establishment of good industrial relations depends upon the constructive attitude of all the parties involved in work arrangement to bring about industrial harmony. Yes, here the if you are going to maintaining a good ethical or good uh, relations, it depends upon a constructive attitude of all the parties, because one manufacturing company, let us take in the cement industry. So cement is not going to cement. is going to using so many raw materials, for example, sand, coal, or certain thing. So here, even soil also. Yes, if you're not going to using the quality of the product, even those who are the suppliers to the company, they can also get a problem. So if you are going to using appropriate quality of the resources, then the company may survive for a long time. So here, then you can also you are also the company also showing that right attitude in this market about their quality of the service. And these concepts give a fundamental understanding of how industrial relations function within organization, and the theoretical approaches that explain these relations and the evolving roles of stakeholders, particularly within the Indian context. Yes, India, when you take an example of the Indian context, we have to see the stakeholders, that means the owners of the company. They used to see that how the fundamental understanding of the organizational or industrial relations are going to be there, and are they working in a systematic way in the organizational level. So if the company is maintaining some fundamental things from the beginning, definitely they will build a strong relations with the market or with the society, with the governments. So if you're not going to using or maintaining certain these fundamental aspects, if you're not going to following all these fundamental aspects or the things, so definitely they may lose their reputation or that the brand, or else their their attitude cannot proving in this market, because society, all the industrial relations are going to be connected with the society in terms of political, psychological, sociological, or technical, and so etc. So these are connected with one to one, because if you are maintaining all this in a systematic way, that may have a good content, will provide that will give a good um, uh, service to the market. Now, see the conceptual framework of industrial relations. What are the conceptual framework for these industrial relations? You see the conceptual framework of industrial relations can be broken down into several key components. Let's see actors in industrial relations. Who are the actors here? Let employees, government and regulatory bodies, unions and worker representatives. So they are the actively participating in the industrial relations. Let's see employers. What is he? What is he? Who is he? Why is he? So let's see. He is responsible for providing jobs. So definitely, if he is going to establish one particular company, he is going to providing jobs to the job seekers and the workers, and managing the business. Not only is providing a job, he is also managing the business. They want to maximize productivity, efficiency, and profitability. Yes, employees always looks about how to maximize their profits in terms of value, sales value or productions, and efficiently. That means they are try to maintain a quality of the product for the long term. That means the durability or the stability in the market. Now, let's see the employees. Employees, they provide a labor and skill in exchange for wages and benefits. They seek job security, fair wages, and safe working conditions. So all employees always about they are, if they have a good communication skills, or if they are technical skills, if they have a uh, uh, semi skills or that medium skills, depends upon that they are going to getting a jobs. So why they're exchanging, that means they're changing, they're using the skills to the uh, organization. So depends upon their skills, they used to get wages or salaries or the benefits for the for monthly basis or daily basis or weekly basis. So they used to seek the security. If the company is going to providing any security for their jobs, or if the company is going to providing any fair wages, so they used to seek all these things. They used to look about these things, and also whether the any safe working conditions are there or not. So, for example, if you see our coal mines, for example, in Telangana, we have Singarain coal mines. There is a Singarain coal law. They used to extract that coals from the this ground levels. So they need a security for working conditions. So if they are going to in depth, deeply going into these caves, so they used to get a suffocation or else some other problems. So definitely the corporation, the company has to provide that other alternative or normal positions to their employees. So always the employees used to see about the security, fair wages, and also about safe working conditions in terms of working hours shift wise from daily 3 shifts or 4 shifts according to uh, their convenient or else depends upon their work style. And also government regulatory bodies. And what are the government regulatory bodies are there in the industrial relations? They used to set the labor laws. So here the government or regulatory bodies used to set the labor laws, and they used to establish the standards, because if the employees they must employees must follow some standards. So for example, they used to fix 8 hours per day or 10 hours per day, like that they used to fix the standards. And also they used to provide some instructions or guidelines to the organizations, like that the labor benefits, welfare benefits, or insurance aspects, or some other leaves or compensation, certain things they used to impose to the organizations. So and enforce regulations. Yes, definitely this is enforce regulations every time. They used to revise the regulations, and they aim to maintain industrial peace and protect the rights of both parties. Yes. No, if there is an no disputes or the issues are there, the organizations or institutions cannot run positively, because they used to make a piece of activities. And unions and worker representatives act on behalf of employees to negotiate wages, working conditions, and resolve disputes. They aim to enhance the workers' rights and ensure fair treatment. Yes, here the union, all organizations have a unions, worker unions. For example, in Telangana, we have TGSRTC. In the TGSRTC, there's unions. Uh, Even RTC, there is a conductor unions and driver unions, are the employees unions. So these unions are going to fighting, are hesitating about their um, welfare things. Are there? If there isn't any, for example, increments are not going to be there. If there is no proper engage, um, welfare programs are not going to be there. Are any disputes with the organizations? These unions are the work representations. There is a inside union members will elect one president about to represent their problems and the disputes with the organizations level. So these representative persons used to raise all this in front of the management. So they used to fight with their rights for their rights, and also they used to enhance the workers' rights, and also ensure fair treatment. So in terms of they don't organization has to treat all of them equal. There is no, don't show me any mercy or that courtesy or some other things about their uh, uh, these things. One second. Yeah, hello. Yeah. ऊपर है सेकंड फ्लोर में. Sorry for the interruption. And let's see some other things. Second point is labor relations process. Labor relations process, here how the labor relationships are going to be there. Let's see here. Yeah, labor relations process. So here, the collective bargaining and grievance handling and dispute resolution. So collective bargaining, what is the collective bargaining? This process allows employers and unions to negotiate on wages, hours, and conditions. So the labor relations process, they used to bargain about their working conditions. For example, 8 hours duty, 10 hours duty, 12 hours duty, 24 hours duty, 18 hours duty. The company is going to fixing certain things. Sometimes they have to, uh, they used to follow. But, as a these labor relation process, all the unions used to fight about their working hours and wages. For example, the person is going to working for overtime duty. So they used to get more than that existing wage per day. They used to get normally 1,000 rupees, for example. If the person is going to working more than that allotted time, they used to get more salary or wage based upon his working hours. They used to work sometimes night shifts. Night shift people will get more than that if the working hours are sometimes more than that existing things. For example, 8 hours. The person is going to working for 8 hours. The person is going to that the employee is going to working for that organization at least 2 hours or 3 hours. So depends upon that hours they used to get the wages, and they used to negotiate all these working conditions all and hours also. And the grievance handling and dispute resolution. Here the procedures of managing workplace disputes and grievances through mediation, arbitration, or legal action. If anything is going to be there, that arbitration or mediation is going to be there, because they used to be involved in these matters to solve the problems. If not, they used to go for legal action. That is in the final stage. Arbitration, there is a dispute is going to be there. There is one. Body is there, the company and the employees is going to appealing about their problems with organization in terms of salaries or in terms of increments or gratuity or the PF or anything is going to be there in the organization level. They used to work for these things, and that mediation is going to be allowed to solve these disputes or the other things. And that outcomes. Yes, what are these outcomes? The workplace harmony. When there is effective communication and cooperation, it leads to a harmonious workplace. Yes, there is an effective. If there is a good communication and if they are going to involving in efficiently, that will be solved very easily. And if there is no proper communication, for example, in terms of language also. For example, one person knows Hindi, one person knows only Telugu, but we cannot communicate in a proper way. At the same time, the person is not going to be understanding. There is manager is there and labor is there. So labor cannot understand that manager's level, because there is a hierarchy that about in top to the labor, there must be a supervisor or some other another team leader. Some people used to be work because they used to uh, explain about that work tasks are their duties. So these things also will be helpful when there is effective communication and cooperation. It leads to a harmonious workplace. That means there is a good workplace is going to be there in this organizational level. And conflicts, it can arise due to disagreements over wages, job securities, and management practices requiring resolution mechanism. So if any kind of these management practice is going to be working wrongly, or if they're not organization is not providing any job security, or there is no proper mechanism in the organization level, there must be a conflict. Conflict is going to be arise in this organization level. So if everything is good, then nothing else to about this organizational. We cannot expect that conflicts in this organizational level. But if they when if there is no proper this management practices or mechanism or job security, definitely that disagreements will the conflicts will be conflicts will be erased in this organizational level. And the productivity, the positive industrial relations contribute to higher productivity and job satisfaction. If the company is fixing some target, they want to produce 100 units per day and into 30 days, into 12 months. Let's see, 100 units per day into 30 days means 3,000 into 12 months. 36,000 units is going to be producing. That is the target of the company. But if they are going to working excessively, if they are going to giving existing by using existing material, if they used to produce more than 36,000 units per year. For example, they are going to producing 40,000 units per year by using existing units, and because of their labor efficiency, hours, and contribution, and their hard work, if they work, they give a good output from the existing resources, definitely that will give a higher productivity and job satisfaction in this organizational level. So if you are not going to giving a proper output, like it's a minimum of 36,000. Instead of that, they have given only 20,000 units per year. So that may not be give a satisfaction, and that may not show that high productivity level. So the organization always thinks about how to minimize the risk and maximize the profit at the same time. Uh, Instead of wasting of unnecessary time, they used to spend on productivity of time. So example, consider a manufacturing company where workers feel their wages are not keeping up with industry standards. Here, how the industrial relations framework might come into play. That means if the company is not going to providing or paying proper wages to their workers, so definitely the workers will get disappointment, and that means there is no satisfaction of the organization. So definitely we can't expect that proper output from their employees. So definitely that may impact on the productivity also. So that's the reason the manufacturing company always thinks about that welfare, and apart from that, they have to provide a good work environment, uh, environment in this organizational level. Let let's see here. Industrial relations and introduction. So IR, international industrial relations, refers to the relationship between employers, employees, and the government in an industrial setting. Because if all are the employers, that means all are the owners, they cannot produce the products because they need employees. If there is a employees, even we can't start the business. They're ready to start the manufacturing of the product, but these duties done doing by employees only. But employers always provide the materials or the establishments for the production. But who are going to giving a permission to produce the product? So if the government is denied their rules and permissions, so they can't start the business operations. That's the reason here industrial relations and there are the relationships between the employees and the government in a industrial setting, because all together these three level of people are the mm, uh, persons, that government employees and employers will together only they can manufacture or produce a particular product, because here there is a relationship is going to be forming among these employees and government. It includes all the dynamics and mechanisms that help maintain a harmonious relationships within a workplace, focusing on managing conflicts, collective bargaining, and maintaining productivity. Yes, here they are going to maintaining a harmonious relationship. That means in a good relationships within the workplace. And they used to focus on how to manage and how to collectively bargaining and maintaining the productivity, because altogether these three are the very important or without these three roles they cannot provide any particular product, and also because if any options of anyone, maybe government rules is not going to be there, or else there, if there is no proper government permissions or approvals, even though we have lots of materials are there, or if you have a lakhs of employees are there, we cannot start the business, because those, definitely we need a permissions or approvals from the government, only we can start the business operations. That's the reason it is a relationship setting among these three level of individuals. So example, let's see example. Imagine a large factory where the management wants to implement a new production process to increase efficiency. Employees are concerned about the changes as they may affect job security. Here, industrial relations mechanism would involve discussions and negotiations between the factory management, workers union, and possibly government mediators to address the employees' concerns, ensuring changes benefit both parties without causing disputes. Differently, all the government officials or employees are the persons, they're going to mediating, or they're going to providing a helping them to the organization, and that workers unions or workmen's unions or the government management also will work smoothly. If there is any conflicts among that organizations, these three individual levels, that they cannot uh, they cannot do the business operations very smoothly. And what are the approaches and theories of industrial relations? The theoretical approaches and framework. Let's see the classical approaches: unitary approach, pluralist approach, and matrix or radical approach. So the theoretical approaches and frameworks that scholars and practitioners use to understand industrial relations dynamics. So how the industrial relation dynamics are going to be there in this organizational level. So that approaches, the classical approaches, unitary approach, that means the views the organizations as a single entity where employees and management have shared interests, conflicts is seen as avoidable. So unitary approach, so this organizational single entity, so where the employees or management have a shared the interest about that approach, how to that industrial relations must be in a good approach, or else in a strong approach among these risk level. And pluralist approach, this recognizes multiple interests that employers and unions all together the approach are going to be there in the industrial relations, like employers and employees unions, and sees the conflicts as inherent and natural. All together should come to one particular thing, because we have different approaches from one to one, but when that approaches should be possible to implement in these things. And also markets a radical approach. It argues the industrial relations are inherently conflict ridden due to the capitalist structure emphasizing class struggle. So if there is a investors are there, they used to impose on certain things on the industrial relations. So that cannot view as a good symbol to the other organizations level. And There are various approaches and theories help explain and manage the dynamics of industrial relations. So here, unitary approach, there is an example for that. A company where management organizations regular team building activities to align, employ everyone to the company's mission and reduce misunderstanding. So simply, that the unitary means that the one entity. Everybody should follow only one approach, one person's approach. So simply, a company where management organizations regular team building activities to align everyone. So all together should follow one instructions and they have to work for one mission of the organization. So here they have reduced that misunderstanding about the organizational level. And pluralist approach here, that is, this approach example, in a large incorporation, workers have formed a union to negotiate better wages and working conditions. So the management sees this as a normal part of the organizational dynamics and regularly engage with union representatives to reach agreements. So in terms of that large corporation, the workers used to negotiate about their better wages, based upon the seasonal, based upon the time. So they used to negotiate that wages and working conditions. So there is a pluralist approach. This approach collides the different interest of the groups and radical approach. Let's see the example. In a garment factory, workers strike due to poor wages and working conditions, seeing their struggle as a part of a larger issue of corporate exploitation. And advocates of this Marxist approach might view this as an inevitable reaction to systematic inequalities. So in let's see an example in this garment factory, the workers are striking due to poor wages. They are getting very, very, very low, less wages for their work. So as for their working conditions, seeing their struggle as a part of large issue of corporate exploitation, because this is not a one individual issue; it is a complex of people. There is a number of workers are going to be there. So all the people are going to get very less payments uh, in terms of daily wages. So this advocates the market approach might use this as an inevitable reaction to systematic inequalities. So they can also see that based upon the working hours or based upon the quality or some other semi skills or normal average skills or skillful persons. So depends upon that they are going to providing. This is going to be one radical approach. And modern theories. What are the modern theories and the industrial relations? So here there is a modern theories, systems theory and human relation theory. What is the system theory? It proposes the industrial relations is a complex system involving inputs, example, labor laws, and process, example, negotiations, and outputs, agreements. So it proposes a system. The system used to follow the labor laws. The system is going to be using the some process and also some negotiations and some agreements. That means the outputs. So it proposes a complex system involving the inputs. So inputs are also known as a labor laws because based upon the labor laws, they used to see the bylaws and certain things. That inputs is going to be constructing that certain and processes. That means the negotiations. So how to pay, how much to pay based upon that working hours. So there is a negotiation is going to be there in this organization and output also in the agreement, how many times, how much time you are going to working for the organization, maybe 6 months, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years. So there is agreements among the organizational level with the employees and with also uh, resources persons, those who are going to providing that the materials to the organization level. There is system. They used to get agreements with all these things in terms of employees, in terms of the suppliers. And the human relations theory. What is the theory here? It emphasizes the employees' satisfaction and the importance of fostering a good interpersonal relationships to avoid conflicts. So, if you have a good human relations that give a good satisfaction to the employees, if you are going to treating there as a labor, if you are going to looking as a looking labor as a um, um, slave, or if you're not good treating them, if you're not good treating in terms of salary enhancements or some other salary benefits or welfare, so they cannot get satisfaction. So if you're going to emphasize the human relations in organizational in a healthy environment, that must foster a good relationships to organization. It avoids the conflicts in this organizational level. And the changing profile of major stakeholders in India. So, what is the changing profile? So, what is the major stakeholders in who are the major stakeholders in India? The major stakeholders in IR, that is industrial relations, include employees, employers, and the government. So in the beginning also we discussed about these things. So they all are going to these three are the major stakeholders in the organization level. That is, the relations are going to be from framing or maintaining in between the uh, employers, and the government. Over time, these stakeholders' roles have evolved significantly in India, influenced by globalization, liberalization, and labor law reforms. So the roles and characteristics of key players in industrial relations, namely employees, government, and unions, have evolved, particularly in India. So in India, we used to see these three stakeholders only, because employers means the management of the company. They are going to investing or establishing the companies or the organizations. And employees always depends upon their qualification, educational qualification, depends upon the experience, depends upon the gender, depend upon their skills. They used to get the jobs, or the company or the management is providing the jobs to these employees. And government, yes, we discussed about the government also. The government uh, must give a permission to establish industry, because if, for example, if you're going to farming, establishing one cement industry, so we need to get no, so many permissions from the government, like environmental and industrial and labor laws. So many angle they used to get the permissions from the government bodies or the authorities. And also unions. These unions are going to formed to secure their rights and the welfare things, and they used to fight for their rights, uh, and they used to negotiate about their wages and also some other welfare activities. The changing work force demographics. So we see that with more women and younger people in the workforce, different expectations and issues, example, work-life balance, diversity, have emerged. For example, if the woman, one working woman, she is working for the organizational, she has to uh, work for the organizational. At the same time, she has to work for their family also. So they have to balance the work-life balance in a two-way, like for this woman. But in case of younger people, they used to work for the organizational effectively. They used to work in these organizational levels. So they all emerged in this changing of workforce level. In the role of employers, what is the role of what are the role of employers? So now the companies are adapting modern HR practices. That modern practice means they used to practice that recruiting process, selection process, acquiring process, and talent acquisition, digital tools flexible working conditions to attract the and retain the talent. And traditionally, employers had a greater control over working conditions, but with organization and competitive pressures, they now emphasize efficiency, adaptability, and technology adoption. So the employees always, they used to maintain and adopt all these things because that every organization used to follow the advanced things only in terms of digital tools or equipments and advanced HR practices, flexible working conditions to retain or attract the talented peoples, and they have a greater control over the working conditions. But the globalization, the competitive pressures, and they now emphasize efficiency, how effectively working and how they adapting that technology and all these things for that organization. That is the reason employers are going to focusing on all these things. If they are not going to focusing on this, that cannot run the industry or the organization at a level, at a systematic level. Trade unions. We have seen that trade unions, the traditional unions have shifted focus with many now advocating for issues like skill development and job security in the force of automation. So sometimes government companies, they used to terminate the employees without any notice. Sometimes the layoffs are going to be there in the organization level because of unnecessarily they are going to paying. They used to think about that unnecessarily paying, or else if there is no proper use of the employees, they used to pay the salaries, and additionally they used to recruit. So by using this advanced technology, technology adoption in all the robotic culture in the Argus level, they are terminating or giving the layup to the employees in these organizations. That is the reason these trade unions are going to fighting about the job security and these skill development things. And employees are more informed and aware of their rights with a rising emphasis on job security, career development, and fair pages. They used to, yes, always they used to see every month and every year they used to get an increment. So monthly basis they used to get the salaries in the on time. At the same time, on time payments and at the same time increments for every year and the performance appraisal and the performance for benefits depends upon the working uh, conditions. And labor unions have also had adapt to changing work patterns such as gig and contract work. So, uh, yeah, some problem is there an opening, but this organization always thinks about this. Um, these unions, um, um, yeah, this contract um, changing the work pattern. So in this way, these organizations always thinks about the organizational uh, cultures and um, benefits of the uh, uh, and these things. And the last one, actually, that was missed here. I'm trying to cover the things. Government involvement policy. How the government is going to involving this policy. So the government recently passed the labor reforms to simplify and unify labor laws, making it easier for business to operate while ensuring better social security for workers. So that government involvement in terms of security they are providing, they're making very easy simplifying that unified labor laws, because these policy makings are giving to the industries to secure the employment of the particular workforce. And with the rise of gig economy in India, platforms like Zomato. We know about the Zomato and Uber. It represents a new kind of employment structure. Simply, they're recruiting the employees if they have a minimum qualification, minimum. For example, Zomato people, they need to understand about the just local language, and at the same time, at least some English knowledge, basics of English knowledge. So simply they have a one two-wheeler and the driving license. Simply they're getting the jobs. At the same time, Uber also, if they have a vehicle and a driving license, they used to get the things. Simply here it represents a work new kind of employment structure. So many people are working for Zomato, Swiggy, and Jepto and Instamarts. All these recent trends in this market. And also the government role has expanded to consider regulations for gig workers, while traditional unions are exploring new ways to represent these workers' interests. So these gig workers, that means they used to work for particular product for a certain period only, and these Zomato employees or that Uber employees, Ola employees, or the Jepto employees will be known as a gig workers are the workforce. So they are the gig economy in India. So this is going to be raised in the market. In the short term, they are going to recruiting so many people to provide or to deliver the giving to deliver the particular product or service to the society. So here the involvement also is going to be there in the policy. So, so these industrial relations and this framework, we are, as of now, we have covered that industrial relations and introduction and approaches and what are the theories are there in the industrial relations, and also changing profile of major stakeholders. So we know that major stakeholders are the employers, employees, and the government, also unions. So all these are the stakeholders in these in the major stakeholders in the industrial relations. So here that industrial relations will be one-to-one link within the among the major stakeholders. So my time now, the class was completed. Any doubts, ma? Vaishnavi? Vaishnavi, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
So are you able to understand that the concept?
Yes, sir.
Any queries, any doubts here? You may raise. I can try to solve that problems or the questions.
No, sir, it's clear.
Is clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, ma. Um, so in the next class we can discuss about some other uh, concepts. So now um, uh, now I'm winding the session. Uh,
Thank you, sir.
okay, ma. All the best.
Thank you.